Okay. So it does say that there's a content warning for blood, gore, violence, strong language. It didn't ask me to verify my age, so I figure it's not going to be too intense. But since I normally play cute cartoon dragon game and avoid swearing, I have the content warning on the side too. I don't know exactly what to expect, except that this is like a choose-your-own-adventure puzzle game where all of the endings are bad, supposedly. How is the volume? I know it's pretty loud on my end. Okay, I'll turn it down just a tiny little bit. Alright, I've turned it down a little, not too much. Okay, let's get started. So, unlike all the others, I did not start this one, so I really don't know what to expect. Welcome to Bad End Theater. On this stage, we shall be toying with fate. We'll make many choices, unlocking darker and darker paths, all in order to witness a lovely variety of tragic events. But first, allow me to explain how it works. In the tutorial, select whichever doll you like. You control the demon doll. You're a fierce-looking guy just minding your own business. How will you interact with the human doll? You kill the human doll in cold blood. How ruthless. You found your very first bad ending, but don't worry, the story need not end here. Let's reset the stage and try again. This time, try controlling the other doll. You control the human doll. You're a friendly little guy just minding your own business. How will you interact with the demon doll? You try to be friends this time, but the demon attacks and kills you. This is all because you chose to attack in the first round. Are the mechanics becoming clear? Got it. Okay. That makes sense. That's cool. Now that you know how the story goes, you can set the doll's behavior in advance. As you just saw, these behaviors will automatically be set to what you chose during your last playthrough. But now you can turn each one on or off without having to replay from that doll's perspective. Yes, my theater actually doubles as a puzzle game. Yeah, sounds good, Crystal. Yeah, this is a story-based game, so if anyone's planning to play this, there would be spoilers. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your suggestion for the game. This is the last one, and I know it's late for you, so I will talk to you later. Have a good night. Now, try turning the doll's behaviors on and off to see the different outcomes. You and the human doll are able to set aside your differences and become friends. End tutorial. Got it. I do understand how to play. This game saves your progress automatically, so just relax and collect all the bad endings at your own pace. Now, without further ado, let's start the show. Got it. So there are 41 endings. You are the hero. You like to think of yourself as a pretty reliable and swell guy. Life has been rather ordinary, aside from the occasional heroic adventures fighting evil monsters and whatnot. You are told a maiden from your village has been kidnapped and is likely being held captive at the nearby demon overlord's castle. Who even puts a village right next to where an entire demon army hangs out? You don't get it. You're happy to protect the townspeople, though. You were born to play this role. You head off on your adventure to rescue the maiden. But demon soldiers block your path. You could kill them to gain experience. Regain your pride, you escape with your life. But you can't return home now. Your reputation will be ruined. You wonder how you'll ever be able to rescue that maiden all on your own if you can't even fight some lousy demon underlings. You'll take your chances at the castle. You're a hero after all. This is your job. After a long trek, you make it to the castle's front gates. You are faced with an army of demons that all look very intimidating. There's no way to sneak past these monsters if you want to reach the Overlord. You go up to the nearest demon and explain why you've come here. They stare you down and you feel very uncomfortable. The They seem to trust you and escort you directly to the Overlord's chambers. That was easy. The Overlord is alone. You ask about the maiden, but the Overlord doesn't seem to know what you're talking about. Was she really never here? You wonder what could have happened to her. The Overlord says that she wishes she could help you, but you're the first human that's come here in forever, at least that she knows of. You think of how you probably shouldn't trust her, seeing as she's a demon and all, but you can't really prove she's lying either. You apologize for the intrusion and return home to your village. The maiden was never found. Let's go, we won. Useless hero end. Thanks for the GGs. 40 to go. You are a maiden, you live in a peaceful village next to a spooky demon overlord's castle. You were told that you were fated to be captured by the Overlord one day because you were a beautiful young girl. Demon overlords apparently love capturing those. You think of how you haven't heard of that actually happening to England, but maybe the demons just haven't been given the opportunity. Who knows? You were in church, you pray to your god asking why you have born into this role of maiden. Oh, I like this game already. You respect the divine plan and all, but you're really just curious as to what the point of it is. You are impatient. Meeting a demon actually sounds pretty gosh darn exciting. Maybe you'd understand your role better if you were to just hurry up and get captured already. You leave a note and venture forth to find a demon, just to, see what happens. Not long into your little adventure, a demon underling appears before you. It looks pretty scary. You tell the demon your name and explain that you're a maiden from the village. The demon suddenly jumps at you and starts biting. A lot. How painful. This plan of yours was completely stupid, you think. Why couldn't you have been more patient? Why did you go looking for trouble? You aren't angry or anything, of course. This was all your fault for trusting a demon not to devour you on sight. This is your punishment for questioning fate, you guess. Bit by bit, you are swallowed by the demon until you are no more. Consumed maiden end, and I have to imagine that a lot of these endings are not going to make sense because she's been eaten, but you never know. Maybe we can turn off the underling from doing that. You are a demon underling in service of the Overlord. You aren't particularly strong, but not particularly weak either. That's what your friends tell you. Your job is to guard the castle and keep humans away. It's unbearably boring. Heroes rarely come all the way here to challenge the Overlord anyway. It's a lot of standing in one place, staring into nothing. You feel like you're going to go crazy if you don't get a break. You decide to ask the Overlord for a day off. She gives you an earful about responsibility and unquestioning obedience. You wait for her to finish her lecture before returning to your post. What does she know about anything? Who made her the boss of everyone? You complain about the Overlord to your friends. They agree that she is kind of a snob and totally deserves to be kicked off her throne. You only wanted to vent your frustrations, but the conversation somehow turned into an assassination plot. I love this game already. You should probably steer this in a responsible direction. You tell your friends you were totally not serious about the whole thing. You're actually cool with the status quo. Yeah, that's gonna work. After all, life must be pretty dang good if the only thing you have to complain about is that you live so comfortably there's nothing to do. The others nod, but don't seem convinced. You say a coup d'etat would be more effort than it's worth. But you're still going to be a rebel and sneak out of the castle. Your friends praise your mischievous ways. The change of atmosphere excites you. Spend some time rolling around in the grass, wild and free. As you make your way along the path to the nearby human village, you encounter a maiden. She greets you and says she has a favor to ask. You consider your options. Alright, so that's what we just did. That wouldn't change anything yet. Maybe we eventually choose that. But let's hear her out. You're in a good mood today and are rather curious about what the maiden has to say. Humans don't usually talk to you, so this is kind of exciting. You hadn't guessed it would even be possible to understand each other before now. The maiden is going on and on about some kind of destiny she's trying to fulfill. The bottom line, from what you gather, is that she wants you to take her to the Overlord. Sounds like it could be interesting. Besides, you have nothing better to do. Satisfied with your day out, you take the maiden back to the castle and present her to the Overlord. The Overlord asks where you found this maiden, knowing full well that you left the castle when you weren't supposed to. You apologize for disobeying her, but hope that the maiden is an interesting enough present that you may be forgiven. Oh, if you eat the maiden, maybe you get punished. The Overlord nods and says everything's cool as long as you always listen to her from now on. You're impressed with what an easygoing boss she is. You mention how you can't believe you and your friends even considered overthrowing her. She gives you a look and you say, "That was just a joke, of course." She smiles and dismisses you. You decide it's about time for a nap. You don't get to sleep long. Your friends wake you up. Rude. One of them is stepping on you pretty hard. You ask them what their deal is. They say they're planning a whole revolution. They're going to get rid of the current overlord and put a new ruler in place. They want to hear if you're in or out. And being a pretty lazy underling, you of course reply with, "That sounds like a lot of trouble. How about we just skip it instead?" Your friends question your loyalty to their cause. I mean, I know what the skull. She's actually not so bad, you guys. Your friends seem pretty disappointed. They apologize to you, but before you can ask what they're sorry about, one of them suddenly seizes you. Someone who's still loyal to the Overlord really has no place in our castle. You understand, right? The claws tighten around your neck. You don't bother to struggle. You're outnumbered. You already know how things end like this. This is a pretty messed up thing to do to a friend, you tell them. They slit your throat in response. Tough but fair. Alright. Let's overthrow her. No, you're sick of this overlord holding you and your friends back. You agree that it's time for a change of management. Your friends suggest maybe you should be the new overlord. You like the sound of that. You announce your first act of rebellion is to take that day off like you wanted. Your friends aren't very impressed. You assure them that you'll talk more about the assassination thing when you get back, which satisfies them. You sneak out of the castle to have some fun. The change of atmosphere excites you. You spend some time rolling around in the grass, wild and free. As you make your way along the path to the nearby human village, you encounter a maiden. Alright. You're in a good mood today and are rather curious about what the maiden has to say. So how's this gonna go? The Overlord asks where you found her. You apologize for disobeying her. Okay. Okay, let's actually kill her. You tell them you were just joking and clarify that you're totally in it to win it. They say you are always terrible with jokes. Whether or not you actually feel like killing the Overlord, you know how bad it'd be to end up on the wrong side of things. And if this assassination deal doesn't pan out, you can always pretend you were innocent all along. But beneath your shield of faux confidence, you worry about what you're getting yourself dragged into. You follow your friends outside the castle to talk more about the plan. You're curious if they have any idea how they want to go about this. They figured they'd just lock her in a room and set it on fire. What a stupid plan. That could go wrong in so many ways. You realize your friends are just a bunch of directionless thugs, useless without someone's guidance. Your guidance. There'd probably be casualties if you fought her head on, and while showy deaths make a revolution a heck of a lot more fun, it's probably the wrong way to go. Your friends agree and suggest that you play the assassin. You really don't want it to come down to this. But you can't back down now. You'll have to be the one to assassinate the Overlord. Besides, no one has any better ideas. You and your friends turn to notice a pair of humans have overheard your entire conversation. Ooh, interesting. They take off into the castle. Are they headed to the Overlord's room? Fuck. The Overlord will kill you for sure if she found out you were conspiring to take her out. You dash into the castle after the humans. Sure enough, the maidens are frantically telling the Overlord everything. You shout that the humans are liars. Your friends soon arrive to back you up, except they don't. Instead, they blame the whole thing on you. They cry that it was all your idea, and that they were just going with the flow, too scared to refuse your crazy plan. You can't believe they'd tell the Overlord such a blatant lie. You always knew better than to trust them. You're the one who didn't have a choice here. You all shout at each other until the Overlord demands silence. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in your place. Crush beneath my heel. She sounds tough, but lately all she does is sleep. You doubt her strength. You hear your traitorous friends mutter something about going back to Plan A, and suddenly the door slams shut. You're trapped in here with the Overlord and the two humans. And then the room bursts into flames. You pound on the door, screaming curses at those who betrayed you. The hero joins you, vowing to slay the lot of them. You wish you'd get that chance. The Overlord grabs you by the throat. You cry for mercy. You were forced into this mess. You're sure now that they would have killed you if you sided with her. But the Overlord doesn't hear your pleas. She drives her claws into your chest. At least she made it quick. Got it. Okay, you are the Overlord. You live in a castle surrounded by your demon servants. It's a pretty cushy life, you think? Except for those pesky humans who keep killing members of your army. There's even a role called Hero, whose whole purpose in life is just to dethrone you. What's their deal anyway? You've actively avoided pissing off the humans in hopes that they'll leave you and your army alone, but they never do. You're still new to the whole Overlord thing, if you're being quite honest with yourself. You don't really understand the politics of it. But you remind yourself everyone is just doing their best to fulfill their roles. You won't let them bait you into being the evil Overlord they expect. You think you're pretty cool and mature to hold yourself to the higher standard like that. One of your underlings walks into your room, totally interrupting your thoughts about how awesome you are. They're saying something about how boring it is to stand in one place guarding the castle all the time, especially since no one ever comes here anyway. You see their point, but the way they're whining about it kind of bothers you. What to do with this underling? You tell them to go take a break from the stifling castle atmosphere and refresh their dark soul. A day off should be fine every once in a while. They thank you and happily scurry off to do who knows what. You have nothing better to do today, so you decide to nap for a little while. Being the Overlord sure is great. You awake to a knock on your door. The underling from earlier brought back some company. It's a maiden from the nearby human village. She says her role is to be captured by you. The maiden then goes on to say that she's been getting very impatient, thinking about her impending capture, so she's come here to speed things along. You appreciate her honesty, but regret to inform her that you never had any plans to capture any humans. She seems very disappointed by this. Perhaps I'm not performing my role well enough. How can I become more maiden-like? You don't really understand the question. You think this world puts way too much focus on destiny and junk. Just go home and stop worrying about it, you tell her. The maiden seems to be having a hard time wrapping her head around this. She insists that she stay and talk to you more. You feel warm inside as she looks into your eyes. This is the first time a human has looked at you without contempt. You wonder what to say. You can't bring yourself to send this maiden away. She just got here. You enjoy a nice long chat with her, sharing stories about your kind. She expresses her surprise that demons are not at all what she expected them to be. You are glad that she seems to have an open mind about these kinds of things. You also bring up how you always instruct your army to avoid humans, as not to agitate them, and get heroes sent out after you. That explains why the people in my village have been left unharmed. It's because of your orders, isn't it? We are very grateful. You're surprised to hear her thank you. You've always thought of humans to be violent and unreasonable. That's why your servants are always getting killed, despite your efforts to leave them alone. But this maiden is different. You joke that maybe you've been lying to her this whole time, and that you are actually super evil all along. The maiden laughs at that, saying she wouldn't mind being held captive here. The people in her village are a little exhausting at times, she says. You can't tell if she's into you or not. What? You're interrupted by another human in your doorway. This time it's a hero. He's apparently searching for the maiden, who is rumored to have been captured by your kind. Captured? Not at all. I only wanted to meet with the Overlord. Didn't anyone read the note I left behind? After everything is explained, the hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. The maiden apologizes for causing trouble, and the hero asks her to return to the village with him. Confusing feelings well up inside your heart. You're surprised that you had one of those to begin with. You don't want the hero to take the maiden away from you. I mean, you're certain that she'll return to spend more time with you. You just have to trust in that, you decide. With the hero and maiden gone, you plop down into the comfort of your luxurious overlord bed. Am I going to get murdered by the hoi polloi? Your room feels so empty now. Is this loneliness? You hope your new friend will be back soon. Close your eyes for a while. You've almost fallen asleep when the maiden and hero burst into your room, frantically trying to communicate something to you. You're told that a group of demons is plotting to assassinate you. You're not surprised. How nice of the humans to care, though. One of your underlings barges in next, shouting that the humans are liars. You're followed by another group of demons, crying that everything was that first underling's plan. Everyone is shouting over each other now. It's very annoying. You yell for them all to shut. You yell for all of them to shut their traps. You have no doubt that your servants would let their ambition cloud their judgment and lead them to try to take your throne. Regardless of who led this conspiracy, I have no choice but to punish everyone to keep you all in your place, crushed beneath my heel. Saying that made you feel very overlord-like. You aren't sure if you have the strength to back it up, though. Lately all you do is sleep. The group of demons start muttering something about going back to Plan A and suddenly slam your door shut. You, the maiden, the hero, and one of your underlings are trapped inside. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. The underling pounds on the door, cursing at their friends for betraying them. The hero pounds on the door as well, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. So this is how you'll die, burned alive in your own room by those you thought you could trust. You should have expected this from a bunch of idiot demons, though. You notice the maiden crying. Why does she have to die over something that has nothing to do with her? Perhaps she was cursed from the moment she spoke to you. I wonder if you're cursed as well. You're so filled with anger and frustration you don't even notice that you've grabbed the underling those traitors blamed everything on. They cry for mercy, saying that they were dragged into this plot knowing they'd be killed if they took your side. They cry that they didn't want to have to kill you. You almost feel sorry for them. So this is the ending we just got. You release the underling. Killing them wouldn't make you feel any better. Besides, they've already gotten their punishment. They'll all burn together. Overlord's true end. Okay, that's not a huge surprise. Before you're taken back to reset the story once again, you pause for a moment. True end, you say to yourself. What was the point of all my effort if the true end is this terrible? You must have forgotten where you were. This is bad end theater. Is the pain setting in? Oh, but you should have been well aware of what you'd be shown when you entered this place. It's a problem I've seen quite often. At some point, you grew attached to my little cast. You started to relate to their flaws, their plights. You started wishing for their happiness. You aren't going to find that here in my theater, my lovingly crafted labyrinth of suffering. Oh, come to think of it, you reached the first true ending very quickly. I'm impressed. There's no need to rush. Please take your time while exploring all the horrible possibilities. Anyway, I hope you'll pardon the interruption. You're making great progress. The choice to continue on to the next ending is always yours. I'll leave you to it, dear guest. I'm sort of curious if, exiting is one of the answers, but... Okay. So this is all what stuff we've done before. but we've changed what the Overlord does. To your surprise, the Overlord spares you. Or maybe she'd rather see you suffer instead. Looking around, you've just gone from one dead end to another. The maiden is crying, the hero is silent. You'll all burn together. Underling's true end? No matter the perspective, the true ending remains the same. That's what makes it true. Couldn't resist seeing it for yourself, though, could you? I wonder what will happen when you collect them all. Me too. Will you give in to despair? Or... Zetsubo. Yeah, not gonna lie, I was asking for, I did ask if this was as, violent and gory as that game, and it's very much not so. Alrighty, so this is all same stuff as before. This isn't right, you think. What kind of hero passes up the chance to save a life? The demons have taken notice of you. It's now or never. Actually, hold on. What button's B? Okay. I missed one. Yeah, I skipped some stuff. You apologize for causing trouble. The hero asks if you'll return to the village with him to give everyone the news of your safety. The Overlord allows the two of you to leave, and you give her a little wave as you exit the room. You'll be back soon. Near the castle's entrance, you spy a group of suspicious demons congregating. They're talking about assassinating the Overlord. You have to warn her, but the hero shakes his head. He says that if this is the true nature of demons, the world is better off with less of them. This isn't right, you think. What kind of hero passes up the chance to save a life? Demons have taken notice of you. It's now or never. You take off into the castle, and the unreliable hero follows shortly after. You burst into the Overlord's room, all your words spilling out at once. You should probably slow down, but there's no time. The Overlord seems to have followed your frantic explanation, but clearly doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. The underling you recognize from before barges in, calling you a liar. You're surprised they were a part of this evil plot. They seem so nice. The other demons come in right after them, saying the whole thing was the first underling's idea. Everyone's shouting at each other now. It's really stressing you out. You are relieved when the Overlord demands silence. She threatens them with violence, and you think she is very Overlord-like in this moment. The group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the little one behind. You watch as it pounds on the door in distress. Have they locked you all in? You have a bad feeling about this. I'm thinking that must have jinxed it, because now the room is engulfed in flames. If only you had ignored those demons before, you and the hero wouldn't have stumbled into this situation. You had just pretended not to hear them. If you left as you were told, only the Overlord would have been killed. But you couldn't have done that. That path isn't an option for you. You think that no matter what, you'll always strive for the path where everyone survives. It must exist. It simply must. The Overlord seizes her underling. They beg for their life. You pray. You don't know what else to do, so you just pray. The Overlord spares the underling. You feel relieved, but does it make any difference? Will you all burn together? You are the hero. Sure. Okay, the Overlord and Maiden seem to be in the middle of some casual conversation when you barge in. You all look at each other in surprise and confusion. This is no time to hesitate. The Maiden explains that she was never actually captured and that she came here on her own volition. That was a pretty dangerous thing of her to do. No one got hurt, so at least there's that. You ask her to return to town with you to reassure everyone of her safety. The Overlord allows the two of you to leave, and you casually exit the castle. You pause when you see a group of suspicious demons standing near the entrance. They're talking about assassinating their Overlord. This proves to you that demons really are foul creatures. You have to tell her about this. You don't understand what the Maiden is thinking. The world is better off with less demons. They're all cold, ruthless creatures that should be destroyed. And those same creatures have just noticed you eavesdropping. The Maiden takes off into the castle, and you have no choice but to follow. You burst into the Overlord's room. The Maiden frantically tries to communicate what you just overheard. A demon underling barges in next, calling you liars. It's followed by the group from the entrance, who shifts the blame back onto the little one. These demons only care about themselves. How low can they be? You begin shouting at them, and the whole room dissolves into noise until the Overlord yells for everyone to shut their traps. She threatens them with violence. This Overlord is no better than her subject. You grip your sword tightly. If you have to cut through everyone here to get this Maiden to safety, you certainly will. A group of demons hiss to each other before shutting the door, leaving the run to the litter behind. You glance around for another exit, but there isn't one. You have a terrible feeling about this. In an instant, the whole room is in flames. What kind of demonic magic is this? The underling pounds on the door, upset that it's been betrayed. You join it, vowing to slay the cowardly demons on the other side. The next moment, the Overlord has taken hold of the underling. It's crying for mercy. Is she going to kill it as retribution? It continues to cry and make excuses, but the Overlord does nothing. To your surprise, she lets it go. Are demons capable of mercy? I guess it doesn't matter now. You'll all burn together. Interesting. Okay. So, the Maiden gave some option, gave us the option to go collect more endings or maybe do something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot these settings and we'll come back to them in a bit. We definitely have more time to explore some of the other options. You make quick work of the vile creatures who stood in your way. You feel much stronger now. After a long trek, you make it to the castle's front gates. You are faced with an army of demons that all look very intimidating. Alright. You gather your courage. This is what must be done in order to rescue the Maiden. These are all evil demons anyway. The world is much safer with them gone. That's what you tell yourself while you kill one after another on your way to the Overlord's chambers. You find the Maiden being held captive by the Overlord, just as you suspected. But for some reason, you can't sense anything sinister happening. You all look at each other in surprise and confusion. This is no time to hesitate. You lunge forward, driving your blade through the evil Overlord. She screams, then falls silent. The Overlord has been slain. You smile, offering the Maiden your hand. She takes it after slight hesitation. She must be surprised at how strong you are. You escort the Maiden home. She's oddly quiet on the trek back to the village. She must be too shy to speak. The villagers are very pleased with what a good job you've done, slaying the Overlord and saving a hostage. They throw a huge celebration in your name. You are remembered for generations as the greatest hero the village has ever seen. Triumphant hero end. The Overlord shares many stories about demons with you, and little by little, you realize they might not be the ruthless monsters you were raised to believe. As it turns out, she commanded her demons to avoid towns and villages. She didn't want to risk giving the humans any excuse to send a hero out after them. You realize that must be why you'd never heard of any demons attacking your town. You express your gratitude to the Overlord on behalf of your village. She says you can thank her by telling the humans to stop raising heroes. She's tired of her servants getting killed off by them. You've always thought demons were violent and unreasonable creatures, but it seems the Overlord could say the same of humans. You may be different, but really they're just trying to live their lives the same as you. You feel like you're starting to understand things a lot better. Maybe everything I've said was to deceive you and the other humans. What would you do if I turned out to be super evil all along? Wink. Even if she were to capture you now, you think this place is far more interesting than the way things are back home. You kind of like not being told to expect demons to come after you all the time. You feel free. Honestly, you've always kept to yourself, but spending time with this Overlord has been very nice. You feel butterflies in your stomach. But then a hero barges into the room. His clothes are stained by a dark liquid. It's dripping from his weapon, too. You realize it must be demon blood. Something horrible has happened. Hero suddenly dashes toward the Overlord, sword drawn. Ooh. Let's start with this. Hero's blade pierces the Overlord, and she lets out a horrible scream. You flinch. The Overlord is slain. Hero smiles and holds out his hand to you, saying it's time to go home. His glove is drenched in blood. Hesitantly, you take his hand. Hero guides you through the castle, past the corpses of his enemies. You try to keep your eyes at your feet. There's blood everywhere. You shut your eyes, but even then you can't escape the smell. All of this was because of you, wasn't it? You exit the castle and the hero leads you back to the village. Everyone celebrates the hero's great triumph over the demons. You feel sick, and you take part in the festivities regardless. Alright, let's see, where does the hero show up? You notice the sounds of battle have started ringing through your castle halls. The maiden is getting nervous, but you reassure her it's only your underlings roughhousing, no big deal. You know it's probably a hero, but you don't want to upset the maiden by telling her that. Her army will take care of it. It isn't long before the hero bursts into your room. But he shouldn't have made it here. Why didn't they stop him? Hero just stands there, unsure of himself. He's covered in demon blood. As the maiden speaks to him, trying to explain the situation, you move past the hero and out the door. You're not thinking clearly. Seeing your servants' bodies in pieces all strewn about your castle is really taking it out of you. That hero did this? There's so much blood. Why? Did he come for the maiden? Did he think she needed rescuing? There was no one for this hero to save here. There was never any harm meant to anyone. You were just talking to her. Why has it turned out like this? You feel a sudden sharp pain through your back. You look down to see a blade protruding from your chest. Ah, that was careless of you. So this is how you die, stabbed in the back by some cowardly hero. What a joke, you're supposed to be the ruthless one. That's right, humans can't be trusted, not if this is what they're capable of. You should have remembered that before letting one in. You watch as the hero takes the maiden's hand, leading her through the sea of corpses he'd left in his wake. Captured by a demon, at least she got what she came here for. You join your army in eternal slumber. Alright, so I think I understand why there are 41 endings. There are 10 paths with 4 different characters, and then a true ending, maybe. Oh, she was napping. They seem to be getting along just fine, so you decide it's about time for a nap. After a few hours of sleep, rudely awakened by the sounds of battle, you emerge from your room to find that a hero has slaughtered many of your friends and work associates. What a jerk. Who does this guy think he is, coming in here and killing everyone like some maniac? What did we ever do to him? You lunge at him while he's busy driving his sword into the guard, who sometimes brought you food whenever they noticed you were feeling kinda down. You liked that guard. You wish with all your demon heart for this hero to suffer for his deeds. You bite into him, tearing flesh from bone. It tastes like iron. Hero struggles. You feel his sword go through you. There's no pain, only retribution. More of your comrades pile onto him as your consciousness fades. The hero is overtaken. Your army has won. You have earned your rest. Interesting. That wasn't what I was expecting. Try and flee this time. Save yourself. You look around at the lifeless forms of those you've known as far back as you can remember. You feel glad to not be in their shoes. You also feel guilty to be thinking that as you flee the castle, and you remember your role, not as an underling, but as a demon. This kind of thing is expected of you. Maybe you'll start a new life, far away from any humans or demons, where you'll live peacefully alone in some deep dark forest somewhere. Okay. You gather your courage. This is what must be done in order to rescue the maiden. These are all evil demons anyway. The world is much safer with them gone. That's what you tell yourself while you kill one after another on your way to the Overlord's chambers. You find the maiden being held captive by the Overlord just as you suspected. Right? The Overlord moves past you and out the door to see your army in lifeless, bloody piles. She's wailing. It's horrible. This is your chance, hero. You lunge forward, driving your blade through the evil Overlord. She screams and falls silent. The Overlord has been slain. The villagers are very pleased with what a good job you've done, slaying the Overlord and saving a hostage. They throw a huge celebration. We've already had this ending, yes. Yes. Alright, so let's see. Got some time left, so... or other options. Let's shout for a hero to come save you. You yell, but a hero does not come. The demon is put off by your son shouting and asks you to keep it down. You apologize. They seem more confused than hostile, which totally catches you off guard. You tell the demon your name and explain that you're a maiden from the village. You tell them you were thinking maybe you could understand your role better if you were to hurry up and get taken away by a demon already. The demon doesn't seem to have really been listening to you, which is a little irritating. They agree to take you to their master nonetheless. For a long walk to the castle, you were introduced to the Overlord. You explain why you've come, and she squints at you. Turns out she never had any plans to capture maidens, or to do anything else that would agitate the humans. You wonder for a moment if she might be lying, but it doesn't really seem like it. Still, this doesn't make any sense to you. You've always been told that demons would one day seek you out, and something awful would happen. Then a hero would come to your rescue. You don't want to believe you'd been lied to all along. Maybe it's just that you haven't been maiden-like enough. You ask the Overlord what you should do to be a more suitable maiden, but she doesn't seem to understand. Just go home and stop worrying about destiny so much. She makes it sound so simple. The Overlord seems like the complete opposite of you. You want to learn more about her and how she thinks. You insist on staying to talk with her more. The Overlord shares many stories about demons with you. Little by little, you realize they might not be the ruthless monsters you were raised to believe. Right, so we've read this. Yep. Alright, let's go for murder here. Oh, but we can't get murder because he's not. Alright, so let's see. Let's save this. The Overlord seems to have followed your frantic explanation, but clearly doesn't understand the urgency of the situation. The underling you recognize from before comes in calling you a liar. Right, read this. If only you had ignored those demons before, you and the hero wouldn't have stumbled into this situation. So let's see. Maiden's True End. I just saved, so I can go back and collect more endings. I don't know how much time is needed after this, if it's quick or not, so let's go and do this now, and then we can go back. It can't end like this. You want to answer the Maiden's prayers. You've decided to find a way to save everyone. But retracing the paths you've seen so far, there doesn't seem to be any room to avoid a bad ending. Is there really nothing you can do to keep them all from getting killed in the end? There's nothing you can do by acting from within their story. Maybe it's time to take things into your own hands. Okay. I see that they're all on fire. That's interesting. You boldly insert yourself into the story and use your incredible power to warp everyone to safety. You didn't know you could do that, but what's going on here? You take a moment to get a good look at yourself. You are you. Why are you pitch black? You feel that this body doesn't accurately represent you, but you move past it. The hero, maiden, underling, and overlord have been staring at you too. They look like they don't really know what they're supposed to do now. You guess that's because you're usually the one guiding them. What will you say to them? Hi guys. You smile awkwardly and introduce yourself. The maiden is the first to respond. My prayers have been answered. You must be... your god? No, you're merely the player. If there was any god here, they'd be the final boss. That's just how these role-playing games go. Now you realize what the true ending must be. Now. Enough of this. I admit I've been encouraging you all along, but a self-insert story? How passé. You reach helplessly as tragedy descends from the heavens. You didn't honestly believe you were the only one who could force your way onto the stage, did you? I am the narrator, storyteller, god of this world. Call me tragedy if you'd like. Darkness envelops your party. You don't mind if I send each of them back to relive one of their many bad endings, right? You were alone in the darkness with me, tragedy. I sincerely hope you've been enjoying your time in my theater, though I can't abide you stealing the show without permission. It's quite disrespectful. I want to see something new. Are you trying to say my bad endings have gone out of style? You have some nerve. You think defeating me might just be the only way to see a better ending? It's all that's left for you, isn't it? Well, this does sound like it could be entertaining. Show me what you've got. Time to fight God. The stage is set for your final battle against me, the god of this world. What will you do? Oh, you'll fight against tragedy itself. I'd love to see it. I see. You tried closing off your heart to protect yourself, but it doesn't make you feel any better. Oh, is that all? You'll never defeat me like that. Perhaps you don't understand just how fast you are here. Behold my beautifully tragic tales. Doesn't seeing them all again make your heart ache? You've witnessed 13 of my painstakingly crafted endings. Your heart does indeed ache for these characters. How could you oh, I see. How could you want to put an end to all of this? Do you truly care for them that much? They're still suffering backstage, you know. It's a shame they couldn't make it here at the end of the world. That's right, you came here to save them. You can't do this alone. Wait, what? You enter the Overlord's room, relieved to see the fire contained to the torches on the walls. When you close the door behind you, the Overlord rises from her slumber. Who are you? Have you come to reside in my castle and serve me? You explain that no, you're not here to serve her. It's more like you've come to do her a favor. So I wonder if this is easier or, possible based on the number of endings you've seen. You ask why she spends all day sleeping instead of commanding her demon army. She laughs in response. Many of my underlings certainly think I should be more aggressive with the humans, like my father before me. His quest for revenge was endless and self-perpetuating. There's a reason I had to destroy him. Can't help but think it's a little late in the game to be getting some new backstory. I have no interest in waging war on the humans. I merely wish to be left alone, to live a peaceful, indulgent life in my castle. You realize she must actually be very lonely, only surrounded by soldiers instead of friends. No wonder she gets so attached to the maiden. Yeah, if I didn't have, if it weren't so late, I almost certainly would have done that. I'm curious what happens. I've got to save right before this. But also, it's almost 1:45, so I'll need to go to bed soon. The true end for the Overlord suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. My own attempts at peace have been rather imperfect. You offer a solution, then very well, I will follow you. The Overlord will now fight alongside you. I see, so this is tragedy. Ah, you've brought the Overlord. I don't stand a chance now. You've prevented me from attaining peace for long enough. Prepare to die. Ha ha ha, I hope you're prepared to face your deaths as well. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. I have HP. Also, tragedy has infinite health. I'll reach my true ending with my own power. The Overlord uses her ambition. Oh, my health is the number of endings that I've seen. And I don't think 13 is enough. I see. The Overlord uses her ambitious nature to overcome tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. You happen to find the maiden as she exits the church, her heart set on meeting a demon. Perfect timing. She approaches you, having already taken notice of your odd form. Excuse me, are you a traveler? I've never seen anyone like you before. You explain that no, you're not a traveler. Well, maybe you are in a sense. You've come all this way. The maiden regards you with excited curiosity. Then perhaps you might be a demon? I was hoping I would meet one today. You think of all the terrible fates that hope would bring about. She is the catalyst of this story, after all. My role as a maiden is to be captured by the Overlord, but you see, I've grown so tired of waiting. You remember this part. She wanted to understand her role better, and so you ask her what it is that she's really hoping to gain from this. The maiden is confused by your question. Perhaps it was as simple as wanting to reach the place she felt like she belonged. The true end for this maiden suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change her fate. If there's something I can do to find fulfillment, then please guide me. The maiden will now fight alongside you. Hey, what is this horrible creature? You wound me, dear maiden. Is tragedy really such a terrible thing to behold? I remember now. I remember all the awful things you put us through. And this should be familiar to you as well. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate. Do we only take damage equal to the number of bad ends that we got for each character? Our true endings do exist, they simply must. The maiden hopes with all her heart to overcome tragedy. Tragedy is reeling. The Overlord tries to fight tragedy with sheer brutality. Oh, has violence really been working out for you so far? I'll show you my own brutality. Okay, so that doesn't work. Alright, got it. So this won't work, I think. You approach the gates of the Overlord's castle, the underlings on guard duty as you expected. They call out to you, the other demon guard is sound asleep. Hey, you're a pretty weird-looking intruder. What do you want? You explain that no, you're not an intruder, although you're definitely intruding into their story right now. You tell the underling you've come to save them from tragedy. Okay, try saving me from boredom first. I hate this job. The underling snickers. You ask what kind of job they'd rather have. It'd be best if I didn't have to work at all. I just want to live a carefree life and never get bossed around or picked on. You think of the underlings' friends who had bullied them into an assassination plot only to betray them in the end. They kept better company, maybe they wouldn't feel so restless. The true end for the underlings suddenly becomes clear. You offer to change their fate. So there's a way that even work could be fun? It sounds fake, but I'll tag along with you just in case. The underling will now fight alongside you. I think this is game over. Wait, what the fuck? You didn't say anything about a boss battle. The underling, You must be desperate to call on such an unreliable ally. Huh, if I beat this guy up, all my problems will be over. Oh, but it won't be that easy. Tragedy attacks with a terrible fate, and I'm out of health. Your HP has run out. You're overcome by tragedy. If you wish to challenge me again, collect more bad endings. My bad end. Ooh. Wait. No, my bad end doesn't increase the number. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is, just looking at the time, I will save here. And like a bunch of these other games, I'm gonna come back to this. I think this isn't something that I can finish in an hour, maybe. It wants me to do more endings. Probably. Yeah, like, it should be pretty straightforward to, like, get the rest of the endings at this point. But, it'll take another, 30 minutes. That sounds right. Yeah, I think I'll probably finish this in the near future. I definitely want to go back to Tiny Toons and make some more progress as well. Let's see. The Speedway mod. I want to take some time to think about how to get some of those harder dragons. And Cinder will get her wish and I'll do more Kaizo. I did. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for suggesting this. Thank you to everyone for the games that you all suggested. I had a lot of fun. Definitely going to come back to some of these. I've got a couple PBs to submit now for games I hadn't planned on running. I don't know about a Snook grind, but I've got a PB to submit. I'll retime it and see how I feel. But yeah, thank you everyone so much for your suggestions, for watching, for hanging out. I had a lot of fun. I am also very tired, so I'm gonna send off a raid and head out. I will let y'all know when I'm gonna come back to some of these, but that is the plan. Alright, let me take a look at who is live. Alright, I'm gonna send off a raid to a friend who is finishing up some Spyro 2 speedruns. Thanks again, everyone. I had a great time. Alright, have a good night, everyone. Bye.